Why do we fill every pause with noise? I'm about to show you the one communication skill that will make you more powerful than anything you could ever say. But here's the problem. Most people are doing the exact opposite, and it's destroying their influence without them even realizing it. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change how people respond to you. But first, let me tell you about the biggest mistake you're making right now. You think talking more makes you more important. You think filling silence makes you more likable. You think constant words equal constant value. But here's what's actually happening. Every extra word you speak is making all your words worth less. Think about the last conversation where someone truly listened to you. Not the kind of listening where they're waiting for their turn to talk, but real listening. The kind where they let silence hang in the air, giving your words space to breathe. That silence felt different, didn't it? It felt like respect. It felt like power. But there's something even more important I need to tell you about silence. Something that will make everything I just said seem obvious. Keep watching, because this next part changes everything. You see, silence isn't the absence of communication. It's the most concentrated form of power you're not using. When you speak constantly, you're actually drowning out your own voice. But when you master strategic silence, something incredible happens. People lean in, they pay attention, they remember what you say. But here's where it gets interesting. There are 3 specific types of silence that will transform your influence. And the third one is so powerful that once you understand it, you'll never look at conversations the same way. But I need you to understand the first 2 first, because without them, the third one won't work. The first type is pause silence. This is when you deliberately pause before responding to create anticipation. But here's what most people get wrong about this. They think any pause works. It doesn't. The pause has to serve a purpose, and I'll show you exactly how to do this in a moment. But before I explain the technique, you need to understand why this works psychologically. When someone pauses before answering your question, what happens in your mind? You lean in, you pay closer attention. That pause creates tension, and tension creates engagement. Here's the exact formula. When someone asks you a question, instead of immediately responding, pause for 2 to 3 seconds. Not longer, because then it becomes awkward. During those seconds, you're doing 3 things. First, you're showing that you're actually thinking about what they said. Second, you're creating anticipation for your response. Third, you're giving yourself time to choose your words carefully. But pause silence is only the beginning. The second type is even more powerful, and it's called strategic withholding. This is where you deliberately don't share everything you know, creating curiosity gaps that keep people engaged. Here's how this works. Let's say someone asks you for advice about a problem. Instead of giving them the complete solution immediately, you give them part of it, then say something like, "But there's one crucial mistake that will ruin everything I just told you. Let me explain why this approach works first, then I'll show you the trap to avoid." Now they're invested. They have partial information, but they know it's incomplete. They have to keep listening because what they already know is worthless without the missing piece. But here's what makes strategic withholding so powerful. It's not just about creating curiosity, it's about creating investment. When someone has to work for information, when they have to stay engaged to get the complete picture, they value that information more. This brings me to the third type of silence, and this is the most powerful one. It's called silence stacking, and once you master this, you'll have more influence in your conversations than people who talk 3 times as much. Silence stacking is when you make each piece of information dependent on the next piece. You create a chain where every link is worthless without the others. People can't walk away because they're too invested in the complete picture. Here's how you do this. You start with a hook that promises valuable information. Then you deliver part of that value, but you make it clear that this part is useless without the next part. Then you deliver the next part, but again, you make it dependent on what comes after. For example, you might say, "I'm going to show you how to become more influential, but this only works if you understand the psychology behind it first." And the psychology is useless unless you know the specific techniques, and the techniques will backfire unless you understand the one crucial mistake that destroys everything. Now they're trapped in the best possible way. They're invested in the outcome, and each piece of information makes them more committed to hearing the rest. But here's the secret that makes all of this work. You're not manipulating people. You're respecting them. You're respecting their intelligence by not rushing to give them everything at once. You're respecting their time by making sure they're fully engaged. You're respecting the value of information by presenting it thoughtfully. When you use silence strategically, you're not playing games. You're communicating with intention. There's a huge difference between awkward silence and powerful silence. Awkward silence happens when you don't know what to say. Powerful silence happens when you choose not to speak because you understand that silence serves a purpose. But none of this works if you don't understand the foundation. The foundation is confidence. You have to be comfortable with yourself even when you're not constantly validating your existence through speech. Here's how you build that confidence. Start small. In your next conversation, instead of immediately responding to every comment, pause for just 2 seconds. Notice what happens. Notice how that brief moment of quiet makes you more present, more thoughtful. Then practice strategic withholding. When someone asks you about something you know well, don't dump all your knowledge at once. Give them part of the answer, then pause. Let them ask for more. Make them work for the complete picture. But here's what's crucial. You have to genuinely have valuable information to withhold. This isn't about creating fake mystery. It's about presenting real value in a way that maximizes engagement and retention. When you master these 3 types of silence, something incredible happens. People start seeking your opinion because they know you don't speak carelessly. Your relationships deepen because you're actually present in conversations. Your words carry more weight because they're rare and thoughtful. But the most profound change is internal. When you're comfortable with silence, you develop a quiet confidence that speaks louder than any words ever could. You don't need constant validation through speech. You don't need to fill every moment with noise to prove your worth. This is the paradox of power. The less you need to say, the more impact you have when you do speak. The more comfortable you are with quiet, the more people want to hear from you. Here's your challenge. For the next week, practice all 3 types of silence. Use pause silence before responding. Practice strategic withholding by giving partial information first. Try silence stacking by making each piece of information dependent on the next. But remember, this only works if your silence serves a purpose. If you're just being quiet to be mysterious, people will see through it immediately. Your silence has to add value, create respect, and demonstrate confidence. The people who command the most respect, who wield the most influence, who create the deepest connections, they all understand this. Silence isn't empty space that needs to be filled. It's concentrated power waiting to be used. Your silence is not weakness. It's not absence. It's presence. It's confidence. It's respect for both yourself and others. Master these 3 types, and you'll never struggle for influence again. As sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Use it.